These kittens are so happy because they are going on a camping trip together for the first time. Now they are waiting for the bus to arrive so they can get on. Finally, after waiting, the bus arrived and they all hopped on happily. They chose one seat, but ended up sitting together. Soon, after hours of sitting on the bus, they finally arrived during the night. They were so excited to finally get off and see the forest. They got off the bus and went straight to the forest, which was so beautiful and peaceful at night. They picked out the place that they wanted so they could soon start their fire and set up their tent. The brown kitten went into the forest to go pick up some sticks to start the fire. When he was done, he had a handful of sticks and was ready to go start the fire. After that, the brown kitten and his friend smashed 2 rocks together so it would create a spark. By creating the spark, it could slowly get a fire to start. The kittens were so proud of themselves because that was the very first time they have ever created a fire. They sat down and started to admire their beautiful creation. While they were busy creating the fire, their friend, on the other hand, finished setting up the tent, all by himself. After all that hard work, they decided to treat themselves with freshly roasted marshmallows. They were enjoying the delicious taste and the fun time they were having together. But suddenly, a very scary noise came from the forest right behind them. The kittens were confused and started to get creeped out. But they decided to ignore it and went back to having fun thinking it was just some lost animal. Finally, after having so much fun eating marshmallows and talking to each other, they decided that it would be best to wrap everything up and slowly get ready to sleep. Interrupted by scary sounds from the forest, the brown kitten woke up confused. He remembered hearing the same sounds when he was roasting marshmallows with his friends. He started to take a walk and went deeper and deeper into the forest without knowing. He was really curious about the scary noises and wanted to know where it was and who is behind it. As he went deeper into the forest, the scary sounds started to get more louder and clearer by every step he took. He was creeped out by it, but he wanted to know what it was and why it was happening, so he kept going on bravely. That was until he heard the voice right above him. He could feel something uncontrollably breathing loudly and making scary sounds. He found who was behind all of it. But was it really worth finding out? No! The kitten quickly backs away from what seems to be a dangerous zombie right in front of him. When he got the chance, he quickly took it and ran away as fast as he could. He was so scared, he didn't even dare to look back. Even though the kitten ran with all his might and fastest speed, the zombie somehow surprisingly catched up to him and was running right beside him like nothing. The strong, muscular zombie grabbed the kitten by his hand and held him tight, not letting him go. The kitten was now trapped. In the morning, the 2 kittens woke up confused, looking around. They looked everywhere, and their friend was surprisingly nowhere to be found. They started to get a sick, worried feeling, knowing their friend just randomly disappeared. The white kitten told his friend that if he doesn't come at the end of the day, then something must have happened to him and they need to find and help him. So then they waited, and waited, and waited, and took a walk, and still waited, until they had enough. They realized that their friend wasn't coming anytime soon. The kitten's prediction was right. Something must have happened to their friend. The kittens were now going to go search for their lost friend and bring him back. They were really determined to find their friend. The kittens started to walk deeper and deeper into the forest, trying to look for clues where their friend might have been or what happened to him. Unfortunately, they didn't find anything or anyone. But they didn't give up no matter what. They had to find their friend. Suddenly, they heard a sound that sounded like a lost animal, but the kittens didn't worry about it because it seemed like it was coming from somewhere far. So they continued to search for their lost friend, not knowing that they were in great danger. While walking, the kittens surprisingly heard footsteps behind them. Slow footsteps, but big feet. They could feel the ground shake as the unknown identity took every step. They thought it was their friend stomping, so they turned around and took a glance, and it was definitely not their friend. The kittens were absolutely terrified of the weird creature standing before them. They didn't even take a second to process what was happening, and they quickly dashed away from the monster and started to run for their lives. The monster didn't think twice and ran after the two small, fast kittens, trying to capture them. His footsteps were so loud that anyone across the forest could hear it. The fast, speedy kittens started to slowly lose the monster. Luckily, they were still running even though the monster was far behind them. While they were running, they came across and found a perfect thick tree to hide behind. They quickly hid and stayed still and made no sound, so the monster wouldn't hear or see them. They stood there for some time and realized that maybe the monster was finally gone. They silently walked out from behind the tree and noticed that the monster was finally gone. They quietly tiptoed to check and look around. While tiptoeing, they found some very large sticks on the ground and picked them up. They both knew this would be useful for protection if they see a monster again. Then they both suddenly realized that they were supposed to find their lost friend and bring him back. Next time they see a monster, they would not be afraid to fight it. They marched across the forest loudly, without any fear while carrying their sticks. They were determined to bring their best friend back, and they would do absolutely anything to achieve their goal, even fight a monster. That's when one appeared right behind them while they were marching. The zombie walked into the kittens during the wrong time. The kittens were absolutely not going to run away like last time. They would fight until they won. The white kitten told his best friend that he will fight the zombie because he was really angry. His best friend agreed to his idea and watched him fight the zombie. The kitten then bravely went up to the dangerous zombie and asked him to surrender at once. But the evil zombie didn't listen to what the kitten said and tried to attack him. The kitten had enough. He slashed the zombie hard in the stomach with his sharp stick. The zombie started to painfully bleed from its stomach and fell to the ground on his knees. The little kitten made it very clear to the zombie that if he tries to mess with him or his best friend again, then he will definitely destroy him. After winning the crazy battle with the zombie, the kittens got back on track and ran across the forest trying to find their lost friend. That's when they realized there was a whole horde of zombies behind them. They messed with the wrong zombie, and now all of his friends will destroy the kittens. The terrified kittens started to run as fast as they could, only thinking about saving their lives while being chased. The yellow kitten lost so much energy by running so fast to the point where she was getting behind and far from her friend. That's when she lost focus and tripped right into a small, thick log. She sprained her ankle and couldn't stand. The yellow kitten tumbled on the ground and laid there terrified of what's going to happen. Unable to stand, she screamed and yelled as loudly as she could for help so her friend could hear her. But unfortunately, it was too late. The white kitten was so focused on running faster than the zombies that he didn't even notice his friend falling or being gone. That's when he realized that the zombie sounds were finally gone. Then he realized that his friend was gone as well. Without any hesitation, he quickly ran back to find his friend and hoped she was okay. When he got there, he stood frozen, and his jaw dropped in half and was absolutely flabbergasted because of what he saw. He started to cry out of complete shock. Oh no! His best friend has turned into a scary zombie! She had green zombie skin and had long sharp teeth with a frowning evil face. Out of nowhere, she slowly lifted up her hands and pointed directly at her friend. Right after that, the zombies behind her started to run towards the white kitten. The terrified kitten didn't know what to do, so he dashed away trying to outrun the zombies. However, the zombies were faster than the kitten and were already catching up to him. The kitten needed to find somewhere to hide quickly. Right at that moment, something big catched his eye while he was looking around. It was a huge, dark black castle that seemed good for protection. The kitten started to run in that direction, slowly getting closer to the castle. He quickly ran into the castle and banged the door shut all the way so the zombies couldn't get in. After escaping the zombies, the kitten was curious to see and explore the castle, so he walked to look around. He noticed how old the castle was because of the creaky sounds the floor made. While walking, the kitten heard some echoing banging sounds from afar. He quickly realized what direction it came from and followed the sounds as they got more louder and clearer. The sounds led the curious kitten to a big black open door. The kitten bravely entered the door, and inside he saw a huge library. But it wasn't just a normal library. It was abandoned and very dirty and also old. The banging sounds were so much louder now that he was getting really close to it. The kitten started to slowly follow the sounds and explore the library. Suddenly, he heard it right next to a bookshelf, which was dangerously close. He hid behind the bookshelf to see what it was. Oh my gosh! It was his best friend in a cage yelling for help this whole time. The kitten quickly ran to his friend to find him in a square-shaped cube. The brown kitten told him to open the cage with the key on the floor. The kitten grabbed the key and tried to quickly open the lock. Thankfully, it opened, and his friend was finally free. They quickly ran to each other and hugged each other tightly, as hard as they could. They were so worried for one another and so happy they are back together. The white kitten started to explain how their other best friend turned into a scary zombie while they were looking for him. The brown kitten started to explain how there's tons of potions in this castle that can cure their friend. But there was an evil clown walking around, so they had to be careful. Slowly, the kittens walked around the messy library, trying to make no loud noises, so the clown couldn't hear them. Finally, they found the exit and got out of the library, and now they had to quietly find the potion room. That's when the white kitten's stick loudly hit the floor. He quickly picked his stick back up, hoping the evil clown didn't hear that. For a moment, they both stood frozen, making sure if the clown actually heard them or not. But oh, were they in big trouble. The kittens heard heavy footsteps behind them and knew they were doomed. They could feel the clown slowly approaching them and getting closer. They were too scared to move an inch of their body. They could tell by his footsteps that he was very mad. Suddenly, the brown kitten aggressively tried to take away the stick from his friend. He told his friend that he will fight the clown so they can escape. He will help his best friend since he helped and found him. Without any fear, the little kitten went up to the clown and bravely stood there. He showed the clown that he is not scared and isn't afraid to fight and win. The clown tried to grab the kitten and his stick when suddenly a horde of rats dashed in. The fat clown quickly backed up and started panicking with the rats roaming around. He tried to stretch his arm and grab the kitten, but he couldn't because of the rats. The clown was afraid of rats. He kept bumping into the walls and backing up while the rats tried to get closer to him. That's when he bumped into a window while one tried to jump on his leg. And then boom! The terrified kitten just saw the fat clown fall right off the window. He went up and climbed the edge and looked down to see the clown's body. Without the clown, the kittens could now peacefully search for the right potion. Finally, after searching for hours and hours for the one and only potion, they found it. They decided to put it in a red squirt gun so it would be easy to spray. Finally, they were out of this haunted castle and were going to save their friend and cure her. They angrily stomped out of the dark castle and knew they would never ever come back. They fearlessly walked around the whole forest, not afraid of anything that comes across them. They were determined to save their best friend and get out of here before it's too late. That's when they stood frozen, shocked, looking at what's in front of them. It was their best friend wandering the forest, all alone with no other zombies. The white kitten knew this was the perfect time to spray the potion. So he did and sprayed all the potion on his friend. The potion flew across the air and landed perfectly right on her face. Yes! She turned back into a kitten. The potion worked. The two kittens quickly ran over to give their best friend a big happy hug. They were all so happy she was cured and back into a kitten. They all knew they could trust on each other whenever something bad happened. After all the hugging and happiness, they all knew they had to get out of this dangerous and scary forest and never ever come back. After running miles and miles, they were finally out of the dangerous forest and on the road. The kittens knew how much danger they put themselves in and how they risked their lives just for a camping trip. They would never go out to dangerous places without knowing what's going to happen.